We are talking about Russell Brand. We're talking about The View going against guns and saying Republicans want to kill people because we believe in gun rights. We're talking about John Fetterman basically causing Chuck Schumer to change the dress code in the Senate. Also talking about AOC getting upset because New Yorkers do not want illegal immigrant in their city. And the Brooklyn Day mass shooting here in Baltimore. A mother gives a heartbreaking testimony. We're talking about all that and more next.
You just apologize for the technology.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Okay, we're having some technical issues tonight. Okay, so let me start over again.
Can you hear us now?
Can you hear me now? Give a thumbs up if you can hear me.
Is that Krista saying yes, she can?
Oh, okay. Can you guys hear now?
All right, I think. Yeah,
there we go.
Right,
okay, good. Goodness gracious. See, they don't want us to hear us tonight, right? Okay, so again, we are Poppin' Politics. We are coming to you live every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Please share this broadcast. As you guys know, or I don't know if you know, but a lot of people going against mainstream narratives are getting canceled. So we want to stay on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter. So please comment, subscribe, share this broadcast with your family, with your friends. We are independent media, and each time you do that, it does make our names and our content that much stronger. All right, so we're going to start right off tonight. Let's set it off.
Okay.
All right, so we're starting off tonight. Speaking of canceled, can they hear me now?
Yeah. Oh, wait, where's the tequila?
Oh, somebody said, where's the tequila? We don't have any tonight. No, we're not drinking tonight. Last week was kind of crazy, so we decided to kind of skip the tequila.
Audience, do you all like our new microphones?
Yeah, we have new microphones tonight. Yes, so doing something a little different. All right, so we are going to start right out with, this has been all over the news. YouTube said Tuesday that Russell Brand will no longer make money from the video streaming site after several women made allegations of sexual assault against the comedian turned influencer. YouTube said monetization of Brand's account, which has 6.6 million subscribers, has been suspended following serious allegations against the creator. This decision applies to all channels that may be owned or operated by Russell Brand, the Google-owned video service said. Wow. So the suspension means Brand won't be able to earn money from the ads that run within and alongside YouTube videos. He actually put out a video of his own going against the allegations that have been made against him. Take a look.
There you Awakening Wonders. Now, this isn't the usual type of video we make on this channel where we critique, attack and undermine the news in all its corruption, because in this story, I am the news. I've received two extremely disturbing letters, or a letter and an email, one from a mainstream media TV company, one from a newspaper, listing a litany of extremely egregious and aggressive attacks, as well as some pretty stupid stuff like my community festival should be stopped, that I shouldn't be able to attack mainstream media narratives on this channel. But amidst this litany of astonishing, rather baroque attacks are some very serious allegations that I absolutely refute. These allegations pertain to the time when I was working in the mainstream, when I was in the newspapers all the time, when I was in the movies. And as I've written about extensively in my books, I was very, very promiscuous. Now, during that time of promiscuity, the relationships I had were absolutely always consensual. I was always transparent about that then, almost too transparent. And I'm being transparent about it now as well. And to see that transparency metastasized into something criminal that I absolutely deny makes me question, is there another agenda at play? Particularly when we've seen coordinated media attacks before, like with Joe Rogan when he dared to take a medicine that the mainstream media didn't approve of. And we saw a spate of headlines from media outlets across the world using the same language. I'm aware that you guys have been saying in the comments for a while, watch out, Russell, they're coming for you, you're getting too close to the truth. Russell Brand did not kill himself. I know that a year ago there was a spate of articles, Russell Brand's a conspiracy theorist, Russell Brand's right wing. I'm aware of news media making phone calls, sending letters to people I know for ages and ages. It's been clear to me, or at least it feels to me, like there's a serious and concerted agenda to control these kind of spaces and these kind of voices. And I mean my voice along with your voice. I don't mind them using my books and my stand-up to talk about my promiscuous consensual conduct in the past. What I seriously refute are these very, very serious criminal allegations. Also, it's worth mentioning that there are witnesses whose evidence directly contradicts the narratives that these two mainstream media outlets are trying to construct, apparently in what seems to me to be a coordinated attack. Now, I don't want to get into this any further because of the serious nature of the allegations, but
All right. So there you have it. I want to get your thoughts on this, Shelley. Now, again, these are allegations. So I am not very privy to all of the information regarding the case, but again, we are in America and you're innocent before proven guilty.
Right.
What are your thoughts on the cancellation of Russell Brand?
Well, you all know how I feel. I don't think anyone should be canceled for their thoughts or whatever they put out. And I do think that he's being canceled as part of this conspiracy, if you would call it that, or this attack against conservatives. However, I will say this. I am not disbelieving the women necessarily. I'm not believing them necessarily, but that goes for Russell Brand. I'm not disbelieving him because I don't believe the women, or vice versa. I think we do need more information, and I don't know the case as well, but this happened in the UK, if I'm not mistaken. All these allegations are from women in the UK, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think there are any in America, at least not that I'm aware of.
Yeah. Again, I believe there may be one in America.
Okay.
I think there's some are in America, but we do know this. Many of them are about 10 to 15 years old. So I do think, and again, I don't know the ins and outs of what happened. I don't know the ins and outs of the details of what's going on. These are allegations,
Right.
but they're 10 to 15 years old. That's number one. Number two, as he mentioned, and I remember Russell Brand on MTV. He's a movie star. He's a celebrity. None of this came out all these years, and as he mentioned, he was very crass.
Right.
Now he has changed over the last 5 years or so, but prior to the last 5 years, he's very crass. He's nasty. He was promiscuous,
Right.
and he was out and loud about it.
Now, he
Again,
said that.
and he's not even conservative now. He's
Right.
changed his life over the last 5 years. And he has come out against the vaccine, against mainstream media narratives, and now all of a sudden we have these allegations.
Yeah, and this is the part of the problem that I have, and I'm going to say this for my side, for conservatives. We seem to think that just because people disagree with the vaccines or the mandates, that they're automatically, they're on our side. I'm not saying Russell Brand is guilty or not, but I'm also not ready to say that these women are automatically lying, right? Yes, he has admitted to himself for him being promiscuous and all those things, but for conservatives, my side, we seem to have gotten ourselves into this little conundrum where anybody who comes up and they disagree with the mandates or they disagree with the vaccines and all that, which I can understand that, and I agree with that as well. But that doesn't automatically mean that a woman or a 16-year-old, well, she was 16 at the time, that is coming forth now saying that he did some things to her that were not consensual, then that doesn't mean that she's lying. This believe all women is bogus, and this believe all men is equally bogus.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody's saying believe all men.
Yeah, I think conservatives are.
I don't think so. I think people are questioning it because of the time period. We have, he was accused of raping, sexually assaulting, and abusing 4 women over the course of 7 years from 2006 to 2013. It is very curious that all of a sudden, when this man has been coming against these corporations, mainstream media, and the vaccine, now all of a sudden these allegations pop up. It's very curious.
I would agree that would be a point of some curiosity, like why now? I would agree, but that does not mean that the abuse could not have taken place over 7 years. Many women are abused for many years by their partners, and they don't report it. They don't say anything. I'm not
But
saying
he has broken up with these people.
No, I'm
It's not
doesn't
something
mean
that he was
doesn't
with.
mean that didn't happen. I'm not saying that these women are telling the truth. I'm not saying that this happened. I'm not saying I don't know the details, but I'm saying that it is well within the realm of possibility for it to have happened. Now, it is curious that why now? Why is this coming out now? Maybe, it does fit the mold, if you will, of many people being canceled for their views, particularly during the scamdemic, right? A lot of people were canceled again, by our government, and even with the Biden administration going to Facebook and other social media, the FBI basically kind of threatening them and putting them in a position where they have to limit people and censor people. All of this could happen at the same time. Apparently they are happening. But that does not mean that these women are lying, all of them, some of them, maybe they all are, but it doesn't necessarily mean that Russell Brand, just because this is coming out now, that he is totally innocent. I'll say innocent. I'm not saying he's guilty, but I'm just going to use that word. It doesn't mean that either. It does mean that a lot of times in life, many things happen around the same time.
Yeah, I agree. But again, we've seen this playbook far too many times, especially as conservatives, especially as people who go against this mainstream narrative. They did the same thing to Trump. They're doing the same thing to Trump. For years and years, 80s, 90s, up to early 2000s, Donald Trump was beloved by Democrats. He actually was supposedly had given money to Jesse Jackson to start the Rainbow Push Coalition.
Right.
He was hobnobbing with Oprah, Clinton,
all
of them, everyone. No one had an issue with Donald Trump. He was a rap star's dream. He was in rap videos.
And he certainly was a woman's wet dream.
Right. People mentioned him all over the place. And he was cool.
Right.
He has always been the same outspoken guy. Now, all of a sudden, he is this piranha, this racist, this womanizer, this hated person when he came out as a Republican.
I agree.
They've done the same thing, and then a whole bunch of women
suspicious.
come out. Same thing with the presidency. So, look, we had January 6th. He ran in 2020. You had January 6th. Almost 4 years have passed. Now they're bringing allegations against him for all this stuff.
Well, they've been doing it for the time since he was in the office. They've been bringing allegations and charges and false narratives, if you will.
But these latest charges, these last 6 just came within the last couple of months.
Yeah, but they also had a January 6th hearing as well.
Oh, yeah, but no criminal. He's announcing it now they're doing this.
Again, it is very suspicious that this would happen now, and certainly that Russell Brand is being canceled, which I am absolutely against, right? I don't think he should. However, but let's even take this above Russell Brand. What this is really saying or giving credence to is that any of us who have and we present a counter narrative, God forbid if it's a conspiracy theory, if you will, we are apt to be canceled as well. So what should we do? We need to create our own, or whatever you want to call it, and not rely on these woke companies, these leftist companies for our livelihood. And again, I'm not saying that it should be that way, that we should be able, this is a marketplace of ideas, but it is this way. So we have to deal with what is, not with what we would prefer to happen.
Yeah, I mean, the censorship has gone way too far. They did the same thing to Andrew Tate. These are allegations. Allegations. Yes, they're horrible allegations. And if they are true, he should be, given the full extent of the law. But they should be investigated. Again,
Absolutely.
It's very curious that these are
they
several years
before he was canceled.
Right. Yeah, several years later before they canceled all of his business.
Right.
So again, we will continue to follow this story and see what happens with this. But it's very curious, and we'll continue to follow it and see what happens. All right. So we are moving right along to the counter view segment. All right, so this is our segment where we respond to some crazy, deranged comments that The View on ABC has made.
It's hard.
You're cute and submissive.
It's hard. I am a man repellent. It's hard because all I do is go to gay events and drag shows and
anything to make a buck, save a buck. Anything to make a buck.
It's hard.
All right, so this week we're responding to a recent episode from The View where they talk meeting Larry David confronting Elon Musk at a wedding about voting Republican. Take a look. This is clip number 2.
It was 4 days after the Uvalde shooting, and Larry David said to Elon Musk, "Do you just want to murder kids in schools?" And Elon Musk said, I'm anti-kid murder. And then Larry said, then how could you vote Republican? That's what happened. And so
This is at a wedding.
Yeah.
At the table.
And so now it's in Walter Isaacson's book about Musk.
About Elon.
And but Larry is.
Okay. So that was Joy Behar, and you saw what occurred. So what are your thoughts on that, Shelley?
I thought, first of all, what is the point? Well, it just seems stupid to me. Why would he ask them this, number one? And at a wedding, but for all sakes. I mean, for what? What's the purpose?
Well, Larry David, he's a uber liberal, uber leftist guy. And, he's all for gun restrictions, gun restrictions, gun control, right. And I guess he found this time where he saw Elon Musk at this wedding, and he feels like this is his time to, talk to him about it.
See, this is one of the I think a big difference between leftists and conservatives, Republicans. We have a little bit more couth, right? Number one, it was a wedding. Number two, we, as much as we are political, we don't just go around bringing up political conversations to just start stuff with people. Usually it's towards us because people know our positions or they think they do. So I think it's inappropriate. But I would have told Larry to fuck off. Sit down, straighten up your tie or your tux or whatever you're wearing, and let the bride come on down. Shut your goddamn mouth, and this is not the place.
Yeah, well, take a look at this. This is clip number 3. They go on about this, actually, The View, and take it even to a further extent.
Listen, I completely agree with you. Right. I think you take the opportunity to call people on it. AR-15s are weapons of mass destruction that should have no place in anyone's hands in this country. And if you vote Republican, I believe that you are complicit in that unless you are actively working day and night to change that within your party. It strikes me that Elon Musk is a little more interested in his money. He's a little more interested in Tesla. He's more interested in neo-Nazi platforming on Twitter or X or whatever the heck, because I can't use it anymore because I've been suspended from it and I don't even know why. And I just think that, you have to really think when you align yourself with a party as to what that party is doing for you, your family, your country. And the Republicans, in my opinion, should be ashamed of what they're doing.
Wait, hold up.
Wow.
Yeah, I need to respond to that wench, okay? First of all, let's correct the record. Maybe you are suspended because you're stupid, okay? First of all, an AR-15 is no more of a weapon of mass destruction, they like to say, than a pistol, okay? It has the same mechanism to fire off the rounds. It just looks bigger to some people, asinine people, maybe like Sonny Hostin. And Sonny, I don't give a damn. Yeah, I'm working for my party. Guess what I'm doing? I'm working to get women, black women, more educated and more armed so that we can show up and you can see us with AR-15s and to scare your little ass. Good, let's do it. Come to one of my classes. Come to the classes I attend where I help to teach women. Please come. Please come.
Yeah. First, I want to. She's so ignorant. She's so ignorant, and her type of rhetoric is very dangerous because she's demonizing Republicans, and it's not right. We are people who stand up for the Constitution, and just in case she needs a reminder, the Second Amendment of the Constitution says a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Thank you. So that's number one. Number two, she needs to, get educated on this. First of all, the largest mass shooting to ever take place was in Virginia. It was the Virginia Tech mass shooting. And guess what? It was the deadliest, and it was done with a handgun. It was done with handguns. Now, you can all look this information up. Mass shootings from 1982 to 2019, primary weapon used, handguns are used 53%.
Mostly.
Mostly.
And let's talk about, to mention the shooting down at the school, I think it was in Tennessee, where those children were killed, right?
Yeah, yes.
We still don't know. That was a communist, a Marxist, right? That's not a Republican. That's not a person on the right. This is someone who slaughtered innocent people, children, mind you. And so she doesn't want to talk about this. Most of the ARs, again, the ARs are not used more frequently than the pistols.
No.
The pistols outweigh them anytime. But they don't want to talk about that because they're disingenuous. They are disingenuous. I bet you Sunny Hostin walks around with armed security. I bet she does. And her family, wherever they go, I bet you she has armed security. She doesn't want to get rid of those firearms, those guns that protect her ass and her family and the women of the View. No, it's only for people who are out here in the public, who live and breathe like we do in the urban area primarily, and who want to protect ourselves and our families. Sonny, you can kiss my black ass.
Yeah. She's ignorant and she's dangerous because people who don't know this information believe this crap. You know, as far as these mass shootings, again, race and ethnicity of the shooter, the majority are white, 58%, black 18%, Latino 9%, Asian 8%, and Native American 3%. So this is, but the percentage of the population, again, we were talking about this last week, white are 64%.
So you would expect them to have more guns, because they're the larger population.
Right. I mean, but this stuff that they're pushing, and then she talks about, she's made a comment about we need to check who we align ourselves with.
Oh,
what? I mean, what, is she serious?
Well, let's ask her, why is she allowing the Democrat Party then?
Right.
Because if my history tells me the Democrat Party was the party of Jim Crow, they were the party who prevented and wanted to keep preventing black people from owning firearms. They were also the party that lynched people walking down the streets blowing whistles at a white woman. Why is she still allowing the Democrat Party?
Yeah.
I don't know. They're the same party that helps to destroy the black family. They're the same party that won't prosecute the criminals, mostly in urban areas, who are black, but darn it, the victims are also black. She doesn't want to talk about that. Why is she aligned with the Democrat Party?
Yeah. The policies are regressive. And we see this. We've seen how these rogue prosecutors, these prosecutors that implement these easy on crime policies in New York City, in LA, in Baltimore, we've seen how crime has increased in all of these areas. So align yourselves with the Democrat Party and more people die.
Exactly. And more people, not only more people, KJ, but more people that look like us.
Right. Exactly. But this isn't all. Take a look here. This is clip number 3, where they go on with this nonsense.
And disagree with you, Sonny, because I actually see Alyssa's point here. I think there's a spectrum of people that actually have nuanced views on this. Is a complicated matter, and what Larry David did, what I'm witnessing here, would be just a gotcha moment. There's no way to respond. There's no way. One, I don't think anyone's for murdering children, so that's just an over-the-top statement. And how are you going to then die?
You don't think anyone's for murdering children? I know she just didn't say that when the Democrat Party is for murdering and aborting babies in the womb. I know she didn't just say that.
Even after they head out the womb, they want to stick the forceps and the knives in the baby's brains and suck out their brain matter before they're fully out of the womb. So this is what the Democrat Party wants to do. Not even partial birth abortion, but let's say full birth abortion. The baby is alive and kicking.
Yeah, they want unfettered. They want unfettered discretion on having abortions.
Right.
And they keep saying this. They've been saying this over the last several days, how no, we don't want abortions up until birth. Well, you have not said contrary. And we've seen President Biden, Kamala, none of them has said to the contrary. No. They have all supported free women's choice, was what they say. Women should have the ultimate choice, unfettered discretion when they're having abortions. Right. And not only that, we just had in April of this year, Senator Kennedy, he was a member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, he had a question here hearing witnesses about whether they support making it legal to abort with unfettered discretion an unborn child up to the moment of the birth. I asked you to go to his website. You can actually see the video. This was in April. 2 witnesses invited by Democrats repeatedly refused to tell Kennedy whether they would support such a law. Both witnesses invited by Republicans on the committee said they would not support that law. So, I mean, we have them on record saying that they support abortion without any type of restrictions.
And the former governor or would-be governor of Virginia, Terry McAuliffe, and again, I'm going to paraphrase, I don't know, I can't quote him verbatim, but he basically gave credence, approval, support for partial birth or abortion for a woman up to the 9th month, if not beyond, at delivery. So Terry McAuliffe, so that's a very recent, before Youngkin was in, Terry McAuliffe was running for governor, and this is one of his comments to say, look it up. Again, I'm not quoting him verbatim, but that's the summary of what he supports.
Right. And this isn't something we're making up. This is literal. You have these women on The View that are sitting here calling Republicans saying that we want people killed because we believe in the Second Amendment when they have already said numerous times that they want unborn children in the womb murdered. Delegate Todd Gilbert, referring to a video exchange between him and Delegate Kathy, who was a Democrat. She said, recorded by Republican, this was recorded by the news. He asked Tran whether her legislation would let a pregnant woman who is dilating request an abortion if a doctor certified that the woman's mental health was impaired. Tran said, my bill will allow that.
Yep.
I mean, this is crazy.
Right. And no, and not only for abortion, as horrible as that is, but definitely up to partial birth and up to the moment of birth. But the Democrat policies, again, I challenge any of you, what city, state that's run by a Democrat, show me where they are thriving on a good side, right? Show me where their businesses are thriving, where the families are thriving, where the children are safe, where they're getting educated, where people can walk down the street without being murdered or whatever. Show me the cities, show me the policies where the Democrats' policies are helping to preserve the family, to enhance and improve the community. Show me, please show me. I would love to see one. I would love to see one. Amidst all of the murder and mayhem that we have, I would love to see this particular place. Please show me where it is.
Right. And then Sunny, she claims to be a Catholic. They removed God from the platform, from the Democrat platform. I challenge you to go to the Democrat website where they have their party platform. They have removed God from the platform. And actually, you know who they replaced God with? Trump. They say Trump multiple times. This is how obsessed these people are with President Trump. Trump is mentioned multiple times throughout their own platform. And they have removed God. And then you have a bunch of Christian black people who vote for Democrats. And they don't believe in God. They don't even believe in anything like that. And they continue to vote for them. So you talk about who you align yourself with.
Exactly.
But again, we will continue to call them out for the hypocrisy, for their lies. We'll continue to call out The View for what they're doing. But speaking of idiotic Democrats, we're moving on to John Fetterman.
Oh, God.
So he was in the news this week. Majority Leader Chuck Schumer said Monday that staff for the chamber's sergeant of arms at the Senate's official clothes police will no longer enforce a dress code on the Senate floor. The change comes after Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman has been unapologetically wearing shorts as he goes about his duties, voting from doorways so he doesn't get in trouble for his more casual attire. So they have changed the dress code. Again, Chuck Schumer says, and I quote, henceforth, senators are able to choose what they wear on the Senate floor. This is what he said. So, I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I'm just waiting for the next month or so for the women to say, okay, well, if the men can wear what they want, then I'm going to come in with a bra and panties or, God forbid, naked.
Everyone can wear, all of them, men or women, they can wear whatever they want now.
So, I mean, I don't know. Where will the lines be drawn? Now, let me say this. I am for adults wearing whatever they want, right? But if you are on someone else's time and dime, then you really have to wear what the prescribed, custom or uniform is, whatever. You do have to do that, right? But Fetterman, number one, I still think he has some cognitive disabilities there. I don't even think he should be in the Senate, number one. But he wears, what does he wear? The sweats?
Shorts, he wears shorts, he wears
sweats that he
sneakers,
just comes from
hoodies.
running or maybe walking or whatever. Walking however long. Funky sweats, probably hasn't even washed his butt, right? Comes into the Senate with these, the smell and just looking, he looks like a thug, a cognitive degenerate thug. That's what he looks like in the Senate. It really, to me, KJ, it goes to how debased we have gotten. We keep lowering the standards. Now we have to lower the standards because this jackass doesn't know how to put on at least a tie and a shirt and some pants, and all he can put on is. I don't understand it. I don't.
Speaking of lowering of standards, take a look at this. This is clip number 5 of him.
How things have operated since that deal was. A bipartisan deal was struck for certain top-line spending numbers for all of the funding bills that have to be passed to make the budget, keep the government running. The Senate has basically been delivering those and passing them by big 91-7 bipartisan majorities. The House today looks like it's falling apart. You've already got 17 no votes in that House Republican caucus saying we're not passing anything. What do you think's happening here?
Yeah, I was very proud of my colleagues, because they're really about governance. That's what it is. And on the other, the House, the whatever they call themselves, Team America or whatever they call themselves, I just like, bring your vote. Otherwise, they need to go hump a different leg.
You were in, you drove your, I think it's a Ford from Braddock.
This is the type of people they want in the Senate. And this is why he wants lax clothing. The standards have been lowered, and they've been lowered not only just for the clothing, but for the type of people that you have here. I mean, look at him. He doesn't even show up for work. He again, as I mentioned, so far in the Senate, he's missed 33.4% of the Senate votes. Wow. He is the chamber's second most absent member behind old crinkly Dianne Feinstein of California. She's missed 46.3%. Now, much of his absence has been due to his health issues. He had a 6-week stay at Walter Reed back in, I believe, February. So he got out of there in March. But still, after he got out of the hospital, he had missed again. He's still missing. So missed 13% of the votes from July to September.
Let me ask our listeners, particularly those if you don't agree with us. That's fine. But if you show up only 50% of the time at your job, would you still have a job? Why are we allowing these people who we pay, remember, we pay, the senators and the congressmen, they make a pretty decent salary. A lot of them, if not all of them, make more than many of you out there in our audience a year, right? So that's our taxpayer money paying for him to go hump somebody's damn leg. Maybe that's why he's wearing the shorts. It makes it an easy hump. I don't know.
Well, that's what he said. He said that he doesn't even like being in the Senate. He said this. He said that it takes time from him being at home. He doesn't like to stay cooped up in the building. I mean, and again, and we see this here. I'm on an administrative body here in Baltimore City. These types of jobs, the Senate, Congress, they're not for everyone. This man has always been an activist. Most of his career, he's been a liberal leftist activist. The Senate may not be for him. It may not be his type of job. It just may not.
Yeah, it may not be, but that doesn't matter to the leftists.
No, right,
because
it doesn't.
What matters is they have the power and the control, and they have access to, regulate our lives, right? Regulate our lives for the things that they wouldn't apply to themselves. So it's what's good for thee is not good for me. So these people are tit suckers. They are sucking at the government tit. Our money is paying for them. I don't have extra money to be paying someone $150,000 or more salary, particularly for showing up to hump somebody else's leg. No, it's unacceptable. That's the Senate. That is the Congress. These are the people's houses. They're really our houses, and we are allowing him and whomever else to show up any damn kind of way. Some of you, many of us, don't like people to come in our houses with their shoes on, right? But no, he can come in humping legs with shorts on and a hoodie.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
I mean, but people have voted for him. They voted for him in Pennsylvania. I believe Pennsylvania had another election last night. It was Pennsylvania and New Hampshire. They were two Trump-backed Republicans, and they both lost. So, and again, we saw what happened in Pennsylvania with him. Trump's pick, Oz, lost against him. And we're seeing this all over the country. So, I mean, they voted for this man, and he obviously doesn't want to work, and he doesn't want to be there. And they continue, and they voted for him, so it's on them.
This is something we need to keep pressing home, particularly in this election season. Voting, how you vote and who you vote for makes a hell of a difference.
It does.
And like you always say, you wish we had voting like regulations where people only can vote if they're educated. Maybe we need that. I don't know. I'm just saying.
We certainly do. I mean, in Pennsylvania, they just passed. Again, I mentioned they had a special election last night,
right?
And then the governor just passed some. I don't know if it was an executive order or if it was a law, but they just passed a law where everyone who signs up for a driver's license will automatically get voting.
Oh, they're trying to get that here too in Maryland.
Yeah,
so with the automatic,
this is where we're going.
So when they automatically sign you up, they're only going to automatically sign you up to one party, the party that the government chooses for you to be in, which is most likely a Democrat. And then you have to go back, and if you get your card and it says whatever Democrat, and no, I want to be Republican, you have to go and get all the work done to change it to Republican. I mean, really? Are we giving up that much of our power? I know the scamdemic was a big pilot test, but come on, Americans. Pennsylvanians, you should be ashamed of yourself. You put this jackass in office, and what he wants to do is just hump legs with shorts on.
Yeah, I mean, the scamdemic was probably the worst thing that could have ever happened. It has ushered in so much corruption, and within our voting system, within our medical system, the way that this whole thing has run is awful, and we have it, and it's here to stay. We used to have election day. Now we have election week and election month. Now they're doing automatic registration when you get your driver's license. It's corrupt.
There's always been corruption, but since the scamdemic, our institutions have literally they're rolling downhill. They're not on the precipice anymore. They are literally rolling downhill. Now, how long that hill is, I don't know, but we have a hell of a lot to do to push that ball back up that hill. We need to get busy. Vote how it matters. It matters how you vote. Please vote. Not just based on, oh, he looks good or he sounds good, or maybe because he's not a Democrat or Republican. Find out what the issues are. Find out how they will affect not just your pocket, but your community and certainly the country at large, your state. Stop voting based on superficiality. It gets us not just nowhere, it gets us undergirded or whatever you want to call it. We are further behind the 8 ball.
I'll go a step further. I mean, I'll be honest with you. Don't vote Democrat. It was the Democrat Party who has ushered in all of these regulations and corruption. It has messed up the voting system. Again, we went from voting day to voting month to week to voting month. They have brought in all of this corruption, and I honestly will tell you not to vote for them. They're power hungry. Not only have they corrupted the voting system, but now they're trying to bring in all of these illegal immigrants to just take over the country. So we won't have a country anymore. Nope. They have lowered the standards so low that they fail to enforce law and order, and then they're lowering these standards where there's nothing to back.
I mean, when is enough enough?
Yeah.
When is enough?
There's no standard from the dress code to the immigration code. To the borders. There is no standard at all.
When is enough enough? I mean, when is enough enough? Is it going to take us literally losing all our rights, losing our family family members, our children, our communities. What is it going to take? And then we're going to be in the ration line for the government, these elites that we pay for, telling us what we can eat. Damn it, if we can even have a gas stove or refrigerator, right? What kind of cars we can drive. This is what they're going to tell us. This is what you all want. You call yourself an American? Really? You call yourself a free person made in the image of God?
But we're
really?
but Republicans are the fascists.
Yeah,
So,
I forgot. Yeah,
again,
I
we're
forgot.
we're
Yeah.
for individual rights. We're for the Constitution. We're
Yeah.
for, if you want to carry a gun, you carry it. But we're the fascists.
Yeah,
That doesn't
we're-
even make
yeah,
sense.
you're right.
We'll continue to move on. We're moving on to New York now, talking about Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So again, she's back. She was heckled last Friday at a press conference in New York regarding the migrant crisis. We talked about this last week. New York City and several other cities across the country have been overrun by illegal immigrants. So the Democrats who spoke outside the Roosevelt Hotel in Manhattan, which has become a relief center for asylum seekers, this is ridiculous, were drowned out by shouting protesters chanting, "Send them back and close the border." So this is what, this is who the Democrats are. Close the border, respect the Constitution, AOC. I am your constituent, a man was heard among the angry crowd shouting into a megaphone. So again, she goes on this rant, AOC, saying, I think that there are 3 points of consensus here that are very important. This is what I quote. And she goes on, she's blaming climate crisis for these illegal immigrants coming into New York City, into the U.S. She's saying basically that people have been displaced due to climate change. So
everything is climate change now,
yeah,
right?
everything is climate change.
Yeah.
It's climate change,
Or
it's racism.
Or Republicans are fascists.
Right,
Yeah.
It's climate change or it's racism. These are the two issues, or white supremacy.
Right.
So climate change, racism, white supremacy are some of the things that Democrats, these are the boogeyman responses that Democrats give you to every incident, every issue. It's one of these three. It's one of these three.
Yeah.
Why do you think that? I know I'm getting off course a little bit.
Why do I
but
think?
why are they pushing climate change? Why are they open borders? Why do they want to not enforce the laws?
Yeah.
It all is chaos.
Chaos. I was going to say, yeah, they want to stir up chaos, fear, and confusion. What does that mean? If you can keep people in the perpetual state of confusion and chaos, they're going to come to, why? They can come to you because you're going to dole out the things that you think they need or they think they need from you. They will never take responsibility for their lives. Look, you talk about the Second Amendment, a well-armed militia. We talk about having freedom of speech and all our other God-given endowed rights that God gave us. A person or people who are capable of caring for themselves. And when we say caring for ourselves, we're not talking about just having no laws. That's not what we're saying.
Right.
We're saying standards, if you will, laws that help keep our society and community safe. But when you have people who can take care of themselves, their families, work, whatever it is they do, have their own business, don't rely on the government, they are called free people, thinkers, open-minded, whatever you want to call them. They're not responsible. They're not imbeciles. They're not dependent on the government response to taking care of them. Therefore, if you don't need the government to take care of you, then what? You're not beholden to them for anything.
Right. And not only that, but let's talk about what she said. So again, you have massive amounts of Americans who have come down to New York City and complain about how their city is being overrun by illegal immigrants. And you know what she says? She says the second is to allow for work authorization so that folks in here can get work and start supporting themselves as soon as possible. So they have, thousands of immigrants overrunning the city.
10,000 a
and
month.
she wants to give them work authorizations so they can take the jobs. Guess whose jobs they're going to be taking?
Yours.
Black and brown.
New Yorkers, I can't believe you either. Now, again, you voted for Governor Hochul and however you pronounce her name, and Mayor Adams. You voted for these people, AOC. Why? New Yorkers, you should know better. Come on. Look, you're a kick-ass type, take name, kick ass and take names, whatever. I don't understand it. But the work permits, you're right, KJ. They're going to take the jobs from New Yorkers. And guess who will still have her job? Governor Hochul,
Yeah.
Hochul, or whatever you pronounce, and AOC, they'll still have their jobs.
You're right.
But the immigrants will take all of yours, and you're still going to have to sponsor them and put them up in your hotels. Manhattan looks like a cesspool. Manhattan looks like the Seattle of the East, like Seattle was looking a few years ago when they had the streets blocked off and claimed these spaces or whatever. That's what Manhattan looks like.
Not
now.
only does it look,
In
it
San
smells
Francisco.
like piss.
And San Francisco.
I drove through there this summer, I was coming from New Hampshire and coming back here to Maryland, and the whole city smells of piss.
Yep.
That's how bad it is. Let me tell you about this immigration. So, immigration policy expert Roy Beck points out in his book, Back of the Hiring Line, the people who get the worst part of this immigration, these illegal immigrant policies, are black people.
Yeah.
Black men's earnings actually rose faster than white men's from 1940 to 1970. During that same time period, the share of black Americans who were considered middle class exploded, growing from 22% to 71%, he says. But progress among black workers leveled off starting around 1970. Guess what happened in 1970? Immigration policies. So black workers started around 1970, 5 years after Congress passed laws that significantly increased rates of immigration from roughly 250,000 per year to 1 million annually. So this is what happens when these immigrants come in. Black people suffer with jobs, with education, all this stuff. They suffer.
Because they suffer because the jobs that the immigrants take are jobs that Americans, black people, and maybe other lower employed or lesser employable people can have these jobs, but they don't because the immigrants will take them for even less. So they undercut the cost that it would take to pay for somebody to work these jobs. Therefore, Americans at the lower economic level will still remain on the government dole, on the government tit, and you and I will still pay for them. And we're still paying for the immigrants as well because they suck up the social services. In New York, what we talked about last week, right? The social services that is costing the toll on New York to pay for these people, house these people, schools, healthcare, the lodging or wherever they have to stay. This is taking away services and resources from Americans who for whatever reason, are not getting these services, but they're definitely not going to get them now that the immigrants.
And
I'm sorry, they're not immigrants. They are illegal immigrants.
They're illegal immigrants. And again, these Democrats, they change the names. You know, they try to do these word games. So they change these names to migrants to make it sound better. But the feeling, you still get the same feeling or worse feeling. Right. 2006 paper published by the National Bureau of Economic Research estimates that the influx in immigration between 1980 and 2000 reduced the wage of black high school dropouts by 8.3%, reduced the employment rate by 7.4 percentage points, and increased the incarceration rate by 1.7 percentage points. Now, when you see these numbers and this word that Democrats like to throw out, disparities, this data is a lot of disparate data, but you do not hear them out here pushing back against it. No, they're bringing in more immigrants.
And so this goes back to, like we said, they use racism. If you say anything about this, you're racist. But wait a minute, these Democrats are contributing to the policies that they're saying are racist.
No, but remember what Sonny said, who you align yourself with. So, you know, at the top of the show, we're talking about Sonny from The View heckling and talking about Republicans and people who align ourselves with the Republican Party. Look at who you align yourself with for the Democrat Party. They're taking away jobs. They're taking away education opportunities. The Congressional Black Caucus has endorsed amnesty year after year after year. They are all Democrats. And what is this doing? It's ruining the black and brown communities of legal Americans.
Like I said, I'm at the point now when you can call me racist and bigot. I kind of laugh at it because I will say, and I might even say, yeah, I am. I'm racist in favor of Americans having jobs, in favor of Americans being able to take care of themselves and their families and their communities. If that's what racism is, then here's your girl.
Yeah, it's terrible. So again, you know, she talks about who you align yourselves with. This is what they're doing, and it's ruined. Every time illegal immigration increases, inequality increases within these communities. So, and we're not just saying this, you can go check it out yourself. The data supports it. So, but we will continue to follow this. I mean, they continue to push this whole climate change thing. I have to say this, the number of deaths is down by 98% over the last century due to climate, climate-related deaths.
Right, because the warmer the planet is, the longer people live.
Yes, I don't know what she's talking about. Right. Climate change is causing this migrant crisis. The number of people who die of hurricanes, tornadoes, heat waves, and other weather-related events in 1920, for every 100 that died, then 2 do today.
Right.
So it's down. The reason why is there's more or plentiful, abundant access to fossil fuels and technology powered by fossil fuels. So I don't understand what she's talking about, AOC, when she continues to push this climate change as the reason for everything.
It's fear-mongering. Look, they talking about this climate change while they jet around the world, not even just the USA, in these, these beautiful pieces of equipment called jets and these fancy cars that take fossil fuels, all the security. Look, they are full of it. They are full of it. They are using the climate change, like you said, racism, all these other isms, if you will. They're using them to stir fear and keep people ignorant and dependent on them. They are lying. Yeah. The warmer the planet gets, the longer people live. We have crops, but again, they want to stop the crop growing because they don't want to use fossil fuels and any other thing. They want us to eat plants.
We have more green space now than we have had over half a century ago. We have more green space now. Why? Because of carbon dioxide. So I mean, plants need carbon dioxide.
The greener the trees, the healthier the air. Because the trees.
So I don't know what she's talking about. This climate change is causing these migrants to come here. I don't get it. I really don't.
It's a lie. It's just a bunch of lies.
Yeah. So we will continue to monitor this, but what we're trying to say, bottom line, is, these Democratic policies are not good for our communities. We've seen it right here in Baltimore, and we've seen it firsthand. Oh yes, we do have a super chatter. Thank you, Krista.
What did she say?
She said, Shelly, I have to ask you, where's your honey jar?
I'm going to have to bring it, Krista, just for you.
KJ not letting you have it. No. That was hilarious. Yeah, she got already jar. That was hilarious. Thank you, Krista. All right, so we needed that laugh as we enter this next topic. So this is something that has kind of hit us at home here in Baltimore, Maryland, the Brooklyn Day mass shooting. So the mother of Brooklyn Homes mass shooting victim, Aaliyah Gonzalez, wept before a city council oversight hearing Wednesday of last week, leading many people in the chamber to tears as she described the pain of losing her daughter. Her emotional words came just hours after police arrested another teenager in connection to the July 2nd Brooklyn Day mass shooting right here in Baltimore. Yep. Brooklyn is a set area here in Baltimore City. This mass shooting was the largest in Baltimore's history. 28 people injured, mostly under the age of 18. Yep. 2 killed in the shooting during the block party on July 2nd, and one of those that were killed was the daughter. Her name is Aaliyah Gonzalez, and her mother stood before our city council last week and gave a heartbreaking testimony of what she went through, how she found out that her daughter was murdered, and the aftermath. I want you guys to take a look at this. It's very tough to watch, but I asked you to watch it.
We're going to play the whole thing.
Yeah, we're going to play her testimony because she needs to be heard.
I'd rather do than be here and talk about this. So we all know what happened, the Brooklyn Day shooting. This is a phrase that will repeat in my head rent-free for the rest of my life. I just turned 40 in June. I had no idea the next 40 years of my life would look really, really different. I had no idea. So Brooklyn Day happens. I have no idea what this event is. My daughter, Aaliyah, she's been all over the news, and every time I see her pretty face on the TV, I'm like, she's not supposed to be there. Aaliyah has been an AB student her entire life. I've always gotten a report card that says, congratulations, you're on the honor roll. Every single time, there's not one time I didn't see that on her report card. Aaliyah was so respectful. She was very age appropriate, and I hope you all know what that means. She wasn't out there twerking and doing all the things that we see. Aaliyah had a curfew her entire life. Not until she turned 18 in April. April 12th is her birthday. But until she graduated high school, she had a curfew at 11. She graduated high school 3 weeks prior to the shooting. 3 weeks earlier, we watched our baby. My husband can't be in here. He's so anxious right now. We watched her walk across the stage at Maryland Live and receive her high school diploma, something she worked very hard for, and something that we were so proud to see. I threw her a graduation party. All the family came out. I made her put on her cap and gown for the people who couldn't make the graduation, just so we could have pictures of her, because we were so proud. Aaliyah would have never been out that late. But here's the thing, she earned it. She did everything her father and I ever asked her for, and then some. She wanted to celebrate her accomplishments. She wanted to go out and kick off the summer and have fun. Those kids wanted to have fun. Again, I had no idea about this block party. But I will tell you what a mother experienced that night. We got a call, Aaliyah's been shot. Alex, they're lying. Can't be Aaliyah, she was just here. As a matter of fact, before she left, I'll rewind a little bit, Aaliyah came in the house and I heard her keys, so I met her in the hallway. I was sitting on my bed. And I met her in the hallway, and she just tilted her head to look at me. She said, "What's wrong, Mom?" And I said, "Nothing, baby. I'm just happy to see you," because I'm always happy to see her. She gave me a hug. We hugged each other. And I know now that was the Spirit telling me, go to her. Go to her. Later that night, she says, "Mom, I'm getting ready to leave. I love you, and I'll see you later." I don't think this is what she meant when I saw her later that night. Aaliyah's been shot. No, she hasn't. Alex, not Aaliyah. Not Aaliyah. They're lying. There's somebody else. But Creed, they are calling from her phone. I get on the scene. There's police tape. There's so many ambulances out there. But they tell my husband and I that everyone's going to Harbor Hospital. We get in my car. We run to Harbor Hospital as fast as we possibly could get there, and there was so many people there, so many kids. It was so chaotic. And my husband's at the desk, the receptionist, and he says, "Aaliyah Gonzalez, she has to be here." And they said, "Sir, she's not here." I said, "Listen, there's a lot of people, maybe you haven't registered her, but they told me she would be here, so she has to be here." She's not there. My husband calls Aaliyah's phone back, and they say, "Sir, your daughter is still here at 807 Gretna Court. She's dead. She's still lying here on the ground." So we run back over from Harbor Hospital to 807 Gretna Court, and at this time, I'm not stopping for nobody. I'm pushing through people. I'm pushing through police officers. I've got to get to her. I've got to get to her. They told me she's here. And if I can, I would like to play a video from that night. I'm not sure if you can see, but you can certainly hear what I've experienced that night.
God, yeah.
That video, I hated. I hated that video. It got to my son. Before I could even call him, it was already on the internet. And I hated every part of that video. It shows my daughter laying on the stairs with a white sheet over her and me knowing that was her because she would have called me a long time ago. She called me. She texts me 50,000 times a day. I didn't hear from her. I know that's her. And most of you, I don't know, I know some of you were on the scene with me. And see, what you don't know, I said, thank you very much. What you don't know is what grief does, because I can hear what you're saying, but I don't understand what you're saying. My daughter was just with me hours ago, and she's not dead. She's waiting for me to help her. She doesn't know you just.
That was tough. She just graduated high school. Mother did everything right. Straight A and B student. She didn't even generally let her hang out at night. But because she had graduated high school, she figured she would let her stay out a little longer. And that was the last time she saw her daughter. It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. And then you have people like Sonny Holston will sit here and tell you that just because you are a really, you want to see people killed? A mother sends her daughter out to a party because she graduated, and that is the last time she ever sees her daughter. It's awful. It's awful.
People, it's just hard to even say anything after hearing something like that. And so when people like Sonny Hostin and any other lowlife accuse people by virtue of their political party of wanting people to be killed, I spit in their faces. I don't think Sonny Hostin, I would bet that she's probably never heard the utter grief, the guttural cries of a mother or someone who's just lost a relative to violence. I had an aunt who was murdered. Granted, it wasn't my child, thankfully, but nevertheless, I had an aunt who was murdered. And to this day, some 30 years later, I can still hear the phone call. I can still hear the guttural screams of my aunts, my uncles, my grandmother, her mother. I can still hear myself literally in my grandmother's house. Everybody, you can just hear it. You can imagine it, I guess. You can hear, I can hear the sounds. I can remember maybe what we were wearing, what we were saying, the disbelief. That lady's talking about grief plays tricks on your mind. Absolutely it does. Because when you see your loved one lying in a coffin, stiff, hard, in just 24 or 48 hours, you were just talking to them. People like Sonny Hostin and all the others who think or say what she does and accuse people by virtue of their political party of basically being killers and murderers, I spit on you. I would dance on your grave. That's how much I despise you. This woman lost her daughter, and nobody, no Republican, no 2A supporter killed her daughter. But guess who did? The low-life pieces of shit that the Democrats allow to run free, and they don't prosecute and don't keep in jail. They're out there shooting people indiscriminately or maybe on purpose just because they have some kind of beef and they carry illegal firearms. This is what I say to people like Sonny Hostin. Again, I spit on you and I dance on your grave.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're here in Baltimore City. I mean, crime is rampant here in Baltimore City. We have very strict gun laws. What we don't have is consequences for people who break the law. And we have a leadership, leftist leadership. We did have a very leftist state's attorney here. She was not reelected, thank goodness. But I mean, this is what we see. But this woman, again, this was the largest mass shooting in Baltimore history. There were no protests. There were no marches. This didn't make national news like the George Floyd situation. Someone who is committing crime he was in the pursuit of committing a crime and was arrested. And again, the police officer did aggressively arrest him. But did you hear the woman's testimony? A mother lost her child due to a mass shooting. Police didn't come. We here in Baltimore City with the police department, people don't even want to sign up anymore. Exactly. We're down police.
Right. Any parent, and I'm going to say good parents, but any parent, the worst nightmare you have is, well, at least one of two, losing your child before you, right? Or your child is in some place where you can't get to them. This is like a recurring universal theme that parents will have, dreaming it, thinking it, whatever. That is the worst fear. And for people, again, like Sonny Hostin, to take that fear, that instinct, and turn it into this political witch hunt, you bitch. Okay, I would tell you this to your face. Let me come on The View, or let me ever meet you and we had the chance to talk. I would say this to your goddamn face if I didn't punch you in it.
Yeah, so our prayers go out to that mother. There were 2 people shot that night, so and killed. There was actually 29 people were shot. And injured, I think, and 2 people were killed. So we will continue to bring you updates on the story. There were some arrests. The suspect is a 15-year-old boy. Police are not naming him because of his age. He is the 5th person in custody. Police said he had been arrested 2 weeks ago for a handgun violation. He faces 44 counts. No one has been arrested for the murder of Fagembi or Gonzalez. It says, okay. Right. So
these are just 5 people they have in custody. And I want to say this about the 15-year-old in particular in relation to the laws that we have. Because of our leftist legislators in Annapolis, there's a law now that because he is a minor, he can't even be questioned by police without his parent and a lawyer. So the police can't even do their basic questioning that they would get from suspect information. So they have to have both, a parent and a lawyer. So if the lawyer is not there and the parent says, yes, you can talk to my child because, let's get some information. We want to find out who killed these people, who shot these innocent people. No, our lefty legislators in Annapolis say, no, you can't do that. You have to get both. Well, sometimes a parent can't afford a lawyer, right? So why can't you talk to the child there with their parent there, of course, because they're a minor? Why can't you do that? No, they want to protect the criminals again. Again, these are the kinds of people that align with the Democrats, but they accuse us. Again, I spit on your graves, and I would dance on your graves. I really would. You are the people that I say, or at least some of the people that I hate. I detest you. Yes, I hate some people. I do. I'm a hater.
Yeah. And we there was a 14-year-old alleged shooter was arrested last month at Patterson High School. Police also charged two 18-year-old men. One of them, Tristan Jackson, was already on home monitoring for bringing a gun into high school earlier this year. So we have some recidivism there. But again, I mean, we had for many years here in Baltimore a rogue social justice prosecutor who would just not prosecute crime. And so a lot of on the streets you would hear about these criminals who didn't care because they felt that there would were no consequence to their criminal behavior.
Krista's asking, what is the shooting incident? Krista, it was the Brooklyn mass shooting, Brooklyn Homes. You can Google that, in Baltimore, Maryland. And it was on July 2nd.
July 2nd.
The weekend of July. Yep, the weekend of July 4th.
Yeah, it was yes, exactly. So please keep that family and all the loved ones of those that were injured in prayer. That's the only thing I can think of, you know, for comfort for them.
That's it.
But my heart goes out to them. So,
and at the video stop playing, right? So you can go to YouTube and look up Charm City TV or Charm City TV Baltimore, and look up the September the 13th City Council hearing, and you can watch the full clip or the full hearing for that. That lady, the mom.
Yes. All right. So that brings us to the end of the show. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please share this broadcast. Share it in a DM, share it on your social media pages, and subscribe. Definitely subscribe. That does make our voice that much stronger. You can continue the conversation by checking us out here on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and subscribe, as I mentioned. That way you get up-to-the-minute content when we post, and we appreciate the support. We are an independent media, and each time you subscribe, it helps to make our voice that much stronger. We are a necessary voice in news and entertainment. You can check us out on our website at www.popandpoliticslive.com. We look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, count your blessings and live a life of purpose.